Now, time for the latest from the eNCA Money Desk. Rofhiwa Madzena is standing by. Rofhiwa, good afternoon. Business Unity has an update on the response to the Part 1 of the Zondo Commission report. What are they saying?
That's right, Mfundo. Some response coming through from Busa, and Business Unity South Africa has offered to help the National Prosecuting Authority to prepare cases against those fingered in the recently released state capture report. Now, the business umbrella body held a board meeting today to formulate its response. Now, the Zondo report names various large companies that the NPA should consider prosecuting for fraud or corruption. And joining us now to talk more about these developments is Business Unity South Africa CEO Cas Coovadia. Mr. Cas Coovadia, many thanks for your time this afternoon. What kind of engagement are you having with businesses that have been named in the report to have engaged in corrupt activity?
Firstly, just to explain that Busa's members are business organizations. So corporates are not members of Busa. What we have asked our members to do, so for argument's sake, if you look at the Banking Association of South Africa, we have asked the CEO of the Banking Association of South Africa, who sits on our board, to engage with any banks mentioned in the Part 1 of the report from Judge Zondo, to put to them what the report says, understand where they are at and what their response is to the report, and then to come back to the Busa board and indicate to us what feedback they've received. We are convinced that we need to go through this process because for us to, on the basis of the report, which we respect and we want to take extremely seriously, but on the basis of the report to take a position or take a decision on any business that's been mentioned in the report without actually giving one of our members or the appropriate member the opportunity to interact with that business and also get the view of that business would be inappropriate and would be incorrect. So we're going through that process. We're doing it very quickly. The information we receive from the relevant members will then, from a more informed position, enable us to take a view on this.
Right. Now, in those engagements with the businesses that have been named in that report, you're saying your members are engaging their businesses. What kind of action would you like to see happen? Revoking of membership, or what kind of action are you looking at as a body?
Well, that's exactly why we're going through this process, to understand. So if a business says that they have looked at the Zondo recommendations, they acknowledge that there was some wrong in the way they actually conducted themselves relating to the issue that the Judge Zondo looked at in his report, then we would, one of the discussions we might have with the business to say, look, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to apologize? Are you going to publicly acknowledge that you did wrong or so? If a business then comes out and says that we don't believe that we did any wrong for the following reason, then we will look at that. And if there's validity in that, we'll consider our position. If we consider that there is no validity in that, we will take a particular position. So I am at this point unable to say what action we would take against any particular business without actually getting that information back from our members to say what the outcome of the discussions they are having with the businesses are. And then from a more informed position, we can make a decision. We're absolutely clear on this, though, that this is a report that in our statement said is an inflection point for the country. We are absolutely clear that where there is clear evidence that a business has conducted themselves in a manner that aided or abetted state capture, and that business takes the view that they are not prepared to actually acknowledge it or do anything about that, we are absolutely clear that at Busa we would need to take a stand on that.
No, absolutely. And with that stand that you are taking, you are offering resources to the National Prosecuting Authority as they comb through the report and gather evidence to start up some prosecutions. Talk us through what form these resources will take.
Well, at least two of our members are already looking at some sort of capacity for the National Prosecuting Authority. At our discussion at the special board meeting, what we felt, and one of the members was present and indicated what they're doing, what we felt is that it would be far more useful if, instead of having pockets of assistance to the National Prosecuting Authority, that if Busa coordinates that, approaches all of its members to contribute, whether it's into a fund or whatever mechanism we use. We would obviously want to do this in conjunction with the National Prosecuting Authority. We cannot presume what sort of assistance the NPA may need, but it's quite patently clear that they do need assistance. And we would then sit down with them, look at what sort of assistance is needed, how we can structure that assistance so that we do not compromise the independence of the NPA. That's the last thing we want to do. So if they need assistance with private prosecutors, if they need assistance with other capacity, admin capacity or whatever else, we'll determine all of that with the National Prosecuting Authority. But we are absolutely clear that the report will only be meaningful. One of the reasons that the report would be meaningful is that if the NPA is able to with speed investigate those areas and those institutions and people that the report identifies, investigate them quickly, investigate them thoroughly, and where there are cases to be made to take to court, to build those cases and prosecute institutions and individuals as quickly as possible. And we want to assist them in doing that.
And very briefly and finally, Cas Coovadia, the issue around whistleblowers, the contribution that a body of like yours can make in terms of making sure that they are protected and they don't fear coming out and talking about malfeasance where it exists.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this was a fairly long discussion at the board meeting. And what we said is that, one, we need to promote whistleblowing, we need to stand up for whistleblowers, but that we also need to, again, engage all our members to look at the possibility of where whistleblowers have lost employment as a result of the correct action that they took, to actually talk to our members and look at where the possibilities of finding employment for whistleblowers, pointing them in the direction of possible employment opportunities. And so we believe that the recommendation in the Zondo report on whistleblowers is a very important one. We believe that one of the most critical roles we can play is to engage with whistleblowers. If whistleblowers have suffered as a result of this and have lost their employment, to see if we can't, through our members, point them in the right direction to remedy that sort of situation.
No, absolutely. Cas Coovadia, who's the Chief Executive of Business Unity South Africa, they're sharing some insights into this body's engagement on the Part 1 of the Zondo Commission report and the steps that they have decided to take as a body alongside its members.